Hello and welcome to Southwest. I'm Anusha Ravi Sood and you're watching State of Play, our daily roundup of all things politics, policy and human interest. Professor Ali Khan Mahmudabad, the chief, or rather the head of the political science department at Ashoka University, was arrested on Sunday by the Haryana police and later he was remanded to 2 days police custody. His arrest has kicked up a huge row, raising questions of a constitutionally guaranteed freedom of speech and expression for all citizens of India. He was arrested for 2 of his posts on social media, him very legitimately exercising his constitutionally guaranteed freedom of speech and expression to express his opinions about Operation Sindoor and its aftermath. Now, before you jump to conclusions on what he exactly said, here's what transpired. His posts, 2 of them, speaking of the heavy burden, the cost of war, the need for communal harmony, and the perils of dehumanizing a fellow human being, are what have landed him in jail. 2 of his posts on Operation Sindoor and its aftermath primarily focused on the impact of war on innocent civilians. He spoke about how keyboard warriors sitting in the comfort of their homes or news channel anchors and guests sitting in the safety of their AC studios were indulging in excessive warmongering without really understanding the cost that it brings with it. War puts innocent lives at stake. Primarily, this was the takeaway from Professor Ali Khan's posts. But for this, 2 FIRs were filed against him, one of them based on a complaint filed by Haryana's State Women Commission. While one of the complainant was Haryana's State Women Chief Renu Bhatia, the other complaint was from a BJP Yuva Morcha leader. These are the sections under which Professor Ali Khan has been booked and put in jail. Under section BNS 152, which refers to acts endangering sovereignty or unity and integrity of India. 353, statements conducting to public mischief. 79, deliberate actions aimed at insulting the modesty of women. And 196/1, promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion. One of these sections, 152 under BNS, is primarily what under IPC you would call sedition. When the new laws were brought in, criminal procedure codes, criminal laws were brought in, the union government led by the BJP was very proud in saying it had done away with the colonial era law of sedition. However, it has simply been given a different form. Before I proceed, I want to quote from his post. Let's remember this is just a part of one of his 2 posts. Here is what he says in the post, and this is what led to the Haryana State Women's Commission take offense and file a complaint against him. In fact, the Haryana State Women's Commission had issued notices to him asking him to appear before them, taking offense to his post, to which he had categorically responded. His advocates had presented themselves before the commission and had responded and had held all of their offense unfounded because they had simply misconstrued what exactly he was saying. This is a part that is in contention as far as the Haryana Women's Commission is concerned. Let me read it to you. I am very happy to see so many right-wing commentators applauding Col Sofiya Qureshi, but perhaps they could also equally loudly demand that the victims of mob lynchings, arbitrary bulldozing, and others who are victims of the BJP's hate-mongering be protected as Indian citizens. The optics of 2 women soldiers presenting their findings is important, but optics must translate to reality on the ground, otherwise it's just hypocrisy. When a prominent Muslim politician said Pakistan Murdabad and was trolled by Pakistanis for doing so, Indian right-wing commentators defended him by saying he's our mullah. Of course, this is funny, but it also points to just how deeply communalism has managed to infect the Indian body politic. For me, the press conference was just a fleeting glimpse, an illusion and allusion perhaps to an India that defied the logic on which Pakistan was built. As I said, The grassroots reality that common Muslims face is different from what the government tried to show. But at the same time, the press conference shows that in India, united in its diversity, is not completely dead as an idea. A case amounting to what would be sedition under the IPC has been slapped for these words. Like I said, this is only one part of two of his different posts on Facebook. South First has done a detailed story, in fact, has reproduced the exact full text of his Facebook post. Please do read it on the South First website and judge for yourself if the action against him is even justified, if not disproportionate. What I saw when I saw these posts was a patriot who was applauding the Indian armed forces for carrying out precision attacks against terror infrastructure while steering clear of military installations and civilians in Pakistan and POK, while at the same time questioning this blind hatred and warmongering playing out, baying for blood ever since Operation Sindoor. Your opinion of his post may absolutely differ from mine. At the end of it, everybody has their point of view and perspective. But irrespective of what your perspective or your takeaway or your opinion of Professor Khan's posts on his social media pages may be, think about this disparity in how authorities have responded to different situations. A BJP minister in Madhya Pradesh, Vijay Shah, made an extremely insulting, derogatory comment against Col Sofiya Qureshi, who became the face of Operation Sindoor. The world got to know about Operation Sindoor thanks to two women officers, one of whom was Sofiya Qureshi. This BJP minister from Madhya Pradesh referred to her as the sister of Pahalgam terrorists. While not naming her, he pointed to her religion. Obviously, her name is Sofiya Qureshi. Pointed to her religion in painting her with the same brush that you would use to describe terrorists of Pahalgam who murdered largely Hindu tourists in a targeted attack. Despite this pointed insult at Sofiya Qureshi, a decorated officer, the BJP has refused to take any action against this minister. In fact, the Supreme Court had to intervene and insist that an FIR be filed against him for his absolutely derogatory remarks, deeming an Indian Armed Forces officer, a woman officer, the sister of Pahalgam terrorists, or for that matter, even Pakistanis. Despite the Supreme Court's insistence on an FIR against him, he roams free. He is not arrested. And the BJP too refuses to take any action. The BJP that deems itself a nationalist party that puts the nation and armed forces first. What happened to upholding the respect, dignity of the uniform when it comes to your own minister defaming or using derogatory terms to describe a woman officer? The National Commission for Women, or even state commissions for women that waste no time in condemning statements by opposition party leaders, activists, anybody who's not part of a sect ecosystem, have said nothing about this minister's derogatory statement. No notices to him to appear before them for an inquiry, no FIR, no complaints against him based on which the police can file FIRs and take action. The Women's Commission that was so proactive in getting an FIR registered against Ashoka University's Professor Ali Khan was mum when India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was targeted. His daughter was doxxed by right-wing trolls after Operation Sindoor. They needed to vent their ire against someone post the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, or rather, since India is not using the term ceasefire, after there was an understanding between India and Pakistan to stop cross-border firing and shelling, they needed a scapegoat. They went after India's topmost bureaucrat under the MEA, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, so much so that he had to lock his own social media accounts to protect his family. Outraging the modesty of a woman, causing harm to the dignity of a woman. All of these grounds still stay true, yet the Women's Commission did not ask for action to be taken against these trolls who went after India's bureaucrat and his family. The same Women's Commission also chose only to issue lip service and a condemnation after days of vicious, vile, hateful, abusive trolling of Pahalgam terror attack survivor and the wife of one of the victims, Lieutenant Narwal, Himanshi Narwal, simply because she had appealed for peace. In any other case, in fact, multiple times we've seen, and now in the case of Ali Khan Mahmudabad as well, the Women's Commission is very proactive in taking action against those that don't fit into a particular ecosystem. This begs the question, is the rule of law the same for all? An intellectual, an academic, a historian or scholar well known for his writing, for his research, a very popular teacher behind whom the entire faculty group of Ashoka University has thrown their weight. Several activists have written open letters inviting support for him in the face of such disproportionate, in fact, as someone would say, illegal action simply for expressing his views. As Professor Ali Khan Mahmudabad himself said in a statement that he put out after he received notices from the Women's Commission, this is simply a new type of censorship. Quelling dissent is censorship, and censorship is nothing but a death knell to democracy. A lot of people in this country currently seem to be under the impression that asking questions is not patriotic. Seeking accountability makes you an anti-national. Demanding answers from those in power makes you a traitor. None of that is true. Asking questions is patriotism. Seeking accountability simply means that you care for the country that you live in and would like to see those in power take responsibility for their decisions and actions. Fighting for equality and against divisive forces is you, as a good citizen, upholding the Indian Constitution. Until next time, when I come back with yet another episode of State of Play, do stay tuned to South First. Thank you for watching.